Empire.
Welcome to the latest edition of All's Caps with former Capitalist defenseman Karl Alsner. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. We are going to be joined later by Michael Phillips, the sports editor of the Richmond Times Dispatch, a good friend of mine. He was at the first book event for my book, Odd Man In, last night, Karl, at Aslan. The next one, Irish Channel, on November 10th. See you there?
Yes, see you there. That's going to be fun. I can't wait. Happy for you, man. That's sweet. I'm probably feels pretty good to finally get this thing out and have people react to it and just kind of, I guess, be done with writing and the build-up, eh?
Yeah, it's fun to have an actual book. Like, the whole time you're going through it, and I'm sure, and I don't know how similar this is to being a player and when you're training in the summer and you're thinking, okay, it's all worth it when I'm playing in the playoffs and all of those things, because when you have the payoff, it feels great.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's so much build-up. There's a lot of hard work that goes into things, and then it's... at the time, you're probably telling yourself, why am I doing this? Or this sucks, this is taking too long or too hard. But yeah, once you put it into action, then it feels good. And that's kind of the way I always felt, at least, when I'd get out there and actually get into some skating tests or not being tired in a third period because I knew I had it in the tank. But oh man, it's a mental grind, isn't it?
It is, and it was. But let's get to the Capitals. We're going to bring on Michael and tell some stories and do some bits in a little bit. But what are your thoughts on the Jersey game the other night? I know this is kind of a road trip now. The Capitals are going on and will be a test for these guys. But what are your thoughts on kind of the Jersey game and finally kind of a 60-minute effort?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it will be a test. It's one of the most fun trips that you go on, though, when you get to hit Dallas and Nashville. It's always super exciting time because they're fun cities to be in. But yeah, it's overall pretty solid effort. Like, what was that? There was the second period with back-to-back goals twice. With what was it, under a minute, 2 times. That really, really helps. You're kind of riding a wave like that. And I think overall, they got to be pretty happy with a game like that. And Charlie Lindgren, my man,
your boy,
playing solid again, so that was pretty sweet. I guess the only if you can look at it as a hiccup is the start of the third period. You obviously want to try and shut things down there and not really make things closer than they need to be. But yeah, overall, I think you got to be pretty happy with the direction that things are going in after the first 2 games of the season, right?
Yeah, and we're recording this on Thursday morning, but upcoming games at Nashville Saturday, at Carolina on Monday. Those are early season tests. Those are teams that should be good.
Yes, should be good, and buildings that are pretty hard to play in too. So
is Carolina hard to play in?
Carolina's hard to play in because, in my opinion, because the ice isn't normally all that good.
Fair.
And when you play against a team that tries to shut it down too and play tight D, and it's just that much harder to make plays out there and skate. Sometimes the ice feels heavy too, and at least personally, I was never the most graceful float on top of the ice skater. So those games just become that much tougher, right? And there's a lot of big bodies on this team, so I'm assuming it for them, for a good chunk of the guys, it still feels like a pretty hard place to play, but. But Nashville, on the other hand, oh man, it's so easy to get up for games there, and so much fun to play in Nashville. So, it's hopefully continuing to ride some of that energy and not have a dip where that can happen going into Carolina.
And then the Vegas Golden Knights coming in here next week. That's a team with Bruce Cassidy that I actually think if they get any kind of goaltending, that's a really, really, really good team.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were going to be good last year, too. I think everybody thought they were going to be good last year.
Yeah, but the salary cap was completely botched, so every injury they had screwed them.
Exactly, and it just happens, right? There's not a whole lot you can do about it, and it could have been a team where they squeak into the playoffs and then they end up doing something really good and dangerous, right? But it just didn't happen. So I still think the team is solid and hard to play against. Vegas is a team that I only got to play against them for a little bit, but they seem to have that aura about them where you're going in to play them and it's like, oh man, this is going to be a hard game. A team that plays fast and is difficult to play against. And there's some teams that just have that about them, and maybe the Caps have positive vibes against them because of winning the cup there, but it could still be a very difficult match.
And new Ironman Phil Kessel coming into town. I know you played against him. You also had an Ironman streak. Do you remember how many games yours was?
I think it ended just over 600, maybe.
It's pretty damn good, man.
Yeah, it was good. Obviously I'm still a little bit bitter that it ended from a healthy scratch and not from an injury, but it happens. That's how the oh man, I'm blanking on his name now. Who had it before?
Keith Yandel. Yeah.
Before Yandel. Oh my gosh. Isn't it amazing how fast he disappears? Right, it gets passed and then it just disappears. I can't even remember the name, but it doesn't matter.
Doug Jarvis.
Doug Jarvis, that's what it was. I
spoke to Doug last year before Yandel broke his record.
Yeah, and so yeah, his happened in the same way, healthy scratch. So it does happen. Obviously, it's super impressive to have a streak like that, regardless of how you play the game. Phil is not known for someone who grinds it out a whole lot in the corners or block shots or anything like that. But either way, it's still very hard to be able to get in the lineup that many times. So hats off. And there's an article on, I think it's The Score that released it. That is a very, very fun read. It's like a 20-minute long read for me, at least with my reading level. But it's very, very fun just to hear what some of his ex-teammates has said about him as a person and a player and an athlete too. I had no idea that Phil was as athletic as they say he is, because he doesn't necessarily show that just with with the pictures we've seen. So it's a very good read for anyone who wants to learn a little bit more about Phil. So I recommend that. Yeah,
John Matisse on The Score, because I was there for a bunch of those interviews, and there were some really funny stories about Phil Kessel. When we come back on All Caps, we're going to join by Richmond Times Dispatch sports editor Michael Phillips. Welcome back to All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Alzer. I'm AP calculator Steve Wino, actually live from Union Station in D.C. I have a train to catch in a bit, but we are joined by Michael Phillips from the Richmond Times Dispatch. Michael, thank you for joining us, and also thanks for coming to the book party.
Yeah, man. Congrats on the book. I've only owned it for about 12 hours, so I haven't dug into it yet, but I'm excited, and I'm excited to see you on the move here, promoting the book, spreading the good word to America.
I'm pouring myself out on every radio or TV station you ever want about this, which is not surprising. Karl, I have to get you your copy, and we're going to have Brett Leonhardt on at some point in the next couple of weeks to talk about kind of the Capitals part of this. But Michael, you're not only do you cover the Washington Commanders, sports editor, you are a Capitals person. You've been to playoff games. What has been your experience just being around this team, attending games, and even the Cup final run?
Yeah, man. So I grew up in Kansas, for those who don't know me. So no NHL action there, but I moved out to work for the Nationals originally with MLB.com, and came to some games and got hooked right away. I mean, it's I'm not telling your audience anything they don't know, but it's the ultimate live sport. It really is, and have been hooked and coming ever since. That first year I was out here was 2007, which was the year they made the playoffs. With the late season run, kind of the start of all of it. So I think watching the team develop and grow and evolve every year has been just a total blast. And it's obviously still an incredibly fun experience to go, no matter how it is on the ice. It's always going to be a fun, action-packed night.
Do you find that even in like Richmond area that the buzz around there for the Caps has grown significantly over the last 15 or so years? Like, does it reach that far? Yeah,
it definitely does. We had minor league hockey for a long time, but that's been gone for a while. So it's kind of the only game in town in terms of if you want to go see something or watch hockey. Particularly during that Cup run, obviously everybody loves a winner, but the TV ratings in Richmond were through the roof, and they still draw a very good crowd night in, night out, in a way that the other teams, the Nationals don't really in Richmond, which is always a fascinating thing. we did a survey of our readers a few years ago, like, kind of what teams are you into? And the answer was in football, it was, then Redskins, now Commanders and Cowboys. Those are the two. Obviously, those are the two everywhere, in the area. For basketball, it was, I don't care about the Wizards. I just follow LeBron and, whoever, the stars. Baseball was, the Braves minor league team was there forever. So the Braves were number one, but the Nats were kind of in the middle, in a big second place tie with like Yankees and all that. But hockey, there was no doubt. It's a Capitals town. They want to hear about the Capitals, and building on that momentum. Last year we had the first Richmond-born player make the NHL. Zach Jones,
Zach
who's
Jones.
a defenseman for the Rays. Yeah. Which obviously is a very exciting milestone as well. You talk about, the growth of the sport, building youth programs and all that. So finally, maybe a little bit of the fruits of that.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of rinks in the Richmond area either.
Just two, yeah.
Yeah.
Just two. Oh man, that's my pet project right now, is trying to get more rinks in this
there
area.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one of the things we talk about too with the alumni association here, is that trying to find a way to reach a little bit further, because some of these Northern Virginia and some places in Maryland, we get out there a decent amount because it's close, but finding I guess good opportunities to come out to a little bit further reaching areas to show support, since we've been getting support, but without actually getting to interact as much, like that. I think that would be a great thing. We've been talking about it. So if Richmond's showing up the way that you say they are, we gotta find a way to get out there more.
Yeah, and they're building a new Coliseum arena, so that'll open in about 4 years. So I would imagine there will be some exhibition games down here soon enough, kind of like the old Baltimore games. Although hopefully maybe a little bit better rink in Richmond. We'll shoot for that.
Oh, I would hope so. Carl, did you play in that Baltimore game with the terrible ice?
I did, yeah.
Oh,
it was entertaining. It was forgettable. I guess is a good way to put it. That's one thing that one of the things that makes hockey so tough is that you have to have good ice conditions, right? I mean, it'd be the same with baseball, football, and all that. You kind of they have the elements to deal with, and conditions and stuff like that. But yeah, if we've got bad ice, all it takes is one little bump, and it means a puck over a stick to a breakaway to a goal. It's just
we've seen that.
Things that
you don't really, the season, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really see it, especially from even sitting at the top of the first level. You definitely don't see it on TV unless you get a good camera angle replay. That things can get messed up so fast out there, and then you just look like a loser for not being able to handle a pass. And doesn't matter how good you are if you get bad conditions. They're bad conditions. Baltimore, unfortunately, they had that for us.
Yeah, Michael, has there been any buzz about Richmond once that arena's done having any minor league hockey?
Yeah, definitely. And there's so many different leagues and operations, and like affiliated and unaffiliated. So I think we're probably a little too far out to know exactly where that'll land. I think they're saying 2026 is when the arena will open. So maybe a touch early to think on that. But I'd be pretty surprised if they don't get something, because there's a million people in Richmond. They're not that you could pack the house every night for something, but I think there's definitely a market for bringing some kind of something there.
Carl, it sounds like you should be down in Richmond more.
Yeah, I went out there. Actually, the only time I've been out there was for a NASCAR race, and it was pretty sweet. I actually got my first and only ever taste of Bojangles too on my way down there, which Pace Sagaster had to treat me to. So if they have things like that down there, then I'm definitely going to come out a little bit more.
There you go.
Michael, yeah, you've done that NASCAR race too.
Oh, the whole town does a NASCAR race. It's filing under not what it once was, but when I moved there, it was 110,000 seats, and it was rocking. That was kind of the heyday, the Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt heyday of NASCAR, when everybody knew everybody. It's not quite that anymore, but it is a show, and I'm sure Carl will tell you, like it's loud, it's in your face, it's an experience.
I'm curious, just to going back to what you said from Kansas City. They've talked about Kansas City trying to have some sort of hockey for a while. Do you think that would be an area that could support an NHL team, or not really?
I don't know. They have the arena. That's kind of like the first piece of the puzzle. Obviously, it's a great downtown arena that actually doesn't have a basketball or a hockey team, which is kind of fascinating. Like I would guess it's the nicest arena in America that doesn't regularly host something. It's the Chiefs are entrenched in that town, obviously, and the Royals have done well for a long time. It's not as big as your traditional metropolis areas, so I think it'd be a tough pull. But I think it'd be a sort of thing where you'd have to get companies on board, season ticket holders on board out of the gate. I think it'd be a bit of a lift, but you never know. You watch some of these markets they go into, and hey, like Kansas City's just as ready to have a team as Phoenix is, and maybe that's not a resounding endorsement of it, but the more you expand, eventually it's got to be on your list.
Well, the arena is the issue. The arena is the issue in Phoenix, right, Karl? I mean, now they're going to play in a 5,000 seat, basically college rink.
Yeah, that's a tough thing, right? Location is such a big thing. Like if you like look at Ottawa. Like Ottawa is
that's terrible.
Yeah, it's a hockey place. Like hockey is deep in the roots there. It's right in Ontario, but Quebec is right there too, and so it's in people's blood. But the arena is in the wrong spot, and you don't draw fans. Like nobody wants to go out there. Players don't even enjoy being out there because there's nothing to do. Like you're at a hotel that's on a golf course that's got snow on it the entire time you're there, and restaurants aren't very close. So if you put an arena in the right spot, it sounds like the one in Kansas City is. It can be pretty good, and that's hurdle number one. So if they are in the right spot there and it's a nice place to live, but I'm not sure about tornadoes, so it kind of freaks the heck out of me. So other than that, it sounds like it could be a pretty viable option.
I love it. Everybody's always scared of the thing they didn't grow up with. Like if there's a tornado, like I'm gonna go outside and look at it and like take pictures of it. But like earthquake, man, like I don't want to be anywhere near an earthquake. That stuff freaks me out. Like everybody's like, oh no, it's not a big deal. Like if you go, my wife's from the West Coast. She's like, oh yeah, no, you just like go sit under a desk or something. I'm like, no, like that is not for me.
Did you guys ever have like earthquake tests? Like you have a fire alarm test and stuff like that. Did you ever have an earthquake test?
No, we did tornado drills where you had to go to the basement and hang out. So we did the fire drill and the tornado drill. Those were the two.
That's funny. I guess that's a great example of it because we always did that where it's like, tornado or earthquake drill, get under your desk, wait there for 30 seconds, whatever, then get out. That's a weird geographical thing, I guess. I didn't even think about that. It's pretty neat.
It sounds like a stupid question. It sounds like what would you rather be in, an earthquake, a hurricane, or a tornado?
Oh man, it's not a stupid question. That is a great question. It's too good to be on my list. Why not?
All right. So all right. Well, we will get to Karl. Okay. After this, when we come back, Michael Phillips will be the latest victim of Karl's stupid questions. Welcome back to All's Caps with former Capitals defenseman Karl Elsner and Michael Phillips of the Richmond Times Dispatch. I'm AP hockey writer Steve Wino. And now for Karl's favorite portion of the show, Karl's stupid questions.
Wino, let's be serious. It's your favorite portion of the show too.
It's you know what? It's my favorite when I can take a break from talking and just let you do everything.
You got it. Okay, fair. All right, Mike. We did a little run through of how this works. So it should be pretty fairly easy. Straightforward, all that good stuff. Okay, you're going to see a bit of a theme here because the time of year. But my first question for you is, what's the best thing about fall, in your opinion? Is it the sports? Is it baseball playoffs? Football kind of gets going. Is it the leaves changing, the weather cooling off? What's your favorite thing?
Oh, see, fall's great. Yeah, I got to go weather. I mean, I like getting outside. I went yesterday after we were done with practice and writing and all that. Went for a very nice hike out here, out in Virginia. Enjoying the fall foliage. I love having all the sports on TV too. That is a luxury. But I got to go Leafs for sure.
Karl, you love fall, right? Like your fall is the best, right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. I think fall is for sure the best all around time of year.
Does anybody disagree with that? Fall's the best seasons. Like
You know what?
everybody else is playing for second.
A lot of people like summer. It's I think because we're in fall right now, people get fired up when they're asked the question. But when you're midsummer too, or maybe not midsummer, when you're at the beginning of summer, everyone's fired up about summer. So it's a tough one. I think I should ask that question. I should ask that question midwinter when it's starting to get cold, and then everyone will say summer for sure.
Right.
There you
go. All right, so I'm not sure if you're as big into Halloween as I am, but with it coming up right now, can you remember what your favorite Halloween costume is that you've ever worn?
I will be Bo Jackson this year of Kansas City Royal, Bo Jackson, going out with my kids. I got two girls who are going to be a witch and Pippi Longstocking.
Nice.
Those are the polls. We did a good one as a family a few years ago where we were a s'more, chocolate, graham cracker, and marshmallow. I thought that my wife led that, but I thought that was pretty good. As a kid, I was almost exclusively athletes. Whoever was my guy at that moment, that was pretty much the theme.
That's awesome. The s'more is actually a great idea.
The s'mores is great. Karl, my best of all time on this one was I dressed up as Bill Clinton as a kid with the full silver hair dye and everything.
That is actually really good. That's so good.
There's a photo of this somewhere.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had photos of all my stuff as a kid. I think my best when I was young was Elvis when I was 7 years old. And I thought it was at first I thought it was kind of dumb. And then my mom made the costume and I put it on. And I was like, actually, this is so sweet. And now Elvis is a popular one this year too. So I guess I feel pretty good about it. I got to dig that out of the archive somewhere though.
Love it.
Okay. I've been indulging quite a bit lately, and so my next one is, what's your favorite Halloween candy? Or it doesn't have to be candy. It could be, are you a chips guy? Do you like when you get Airheads, or do you like chocolate? Like what do you like to go for?
A pretty standard answer here. It's Reese's for me. My one seed of the Reese's is the Easter egg, but I'll eat Reese's any time. The chocolate, the peanut butter. My sleeper pick here, maybe my underrated candy in the bag, 100 Grand. I don't know if you know the 100 Grand with the chocolate and the crunchies and the caramel. I think people sleep on that.
That's bonus points right there. I got a bag of from Costco, and I just threw my hand in there, pulled something out, and it was one of those. And at first I was like, never heard of this. This is probably going to be junk. And had it, and I've been digging through that bag ever since, trying to find more of them. So, very, very good pick.
Michael,
what's
and it is, and Michael is exactly right. The Reese's peanut butter eggs are the best. It's the best ratio of chocolate to peanut butter of all of the. But I only like the holiday ones. I don't like the regular Reese's peanut butter cups. It's got to be either the trees, the hearts, the Easter eggs, now the pumpkins for Halloween. And I've got great news, Michael. I have 3 bags of them from my parents to bring out to Commanders next week.
Let's go. All right.
So, I like them. I need 1 bag. I don't need 4.
Do they
need a win now? Karl, on weeks where the Commanders win, on Wednesday they do Victory Wednesday, and they bring in pizza for everybody in the building, including us reporters. So if we could get a win and Wino bringing in Reese's, that's got potential to be a good day right there.
That really does. Where's the pizza coming from? Paisanos. Yes, nice.
Oh yeah.
Paisanos. Are they the holiday Reese's? Do they put more peanut butter to chocolate?
I think so. I really do.
The ratio is different.
Yes.
Yeah, it is, I think.
Yeah. You don't have the crispy edges of the Reese's peanut butter cups.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, my just in case anyone cares, my favorite's Kit Kat, and if you're in Canada, Smarties and Coffee Crisp are my go-to. If you can ever get your hands on those, please give them a shot. I think you'll be happy. All right, now a little bit away from Halloween here. If you could get an exclusive spill all the beans, tell every secret from any athlete, or actually no, not just athlete, anybody, who would you want to have that sit down with?
Man, yeah, I'm in the sports right. I'm going to stick in my lane here with the Commanders, and I'm either going to pick Dan Snyder or RG3. Dan Snyder speaks for himself. RG3, that was the craziest year and a half here. Him doing great, getting hurt, getting run out of here. I think that story was fascinating. How that played out with all the drama and turmoil in the building. I'd love to deep dive into that. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I think we could learn a lot potentially there too.
Yeah, I agree. I think locally that's a bit of a mystery for a lot of, well, maybe not just locally, maybe throughout the league, but it is a mystery. And then Dan Snyder, yeah, that would be. I'd love to know some of the backstory here, because I've heard a lot of stories, and some of them are pretty hard to believe. So I'd love to hear what's going on inside the brain there. Maybe one day.
Who would be my best pick from the Caps from your era? Like who would be the best one to pick?
Oh man, I would love to be able to hear everything that went on in Sergei Fedorov's life.
Okay.
I think that would be really great. Obviously, Ovi, Backy, Greeny, like when they were just kind of getting into the swing of things, like their first 4 or 5 years. They, I'd love to hear everything go. Like if you could hear all the stuff that, their preparation for games and all that stuff, I think it would be pretty interesting stuff. But I'm not sure that there's ever been anything that's been, as wild as the RG3 saga. So that probably trumps it.
I mean, Sergei, that's one of the first great memories of the Caps era was the playoff goal, right? Game 7.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
It'd be fun just hear him talk about a little bit of his time here with some of the young Russians, but also his time in Detroit, man. Like that, he was there for some really, really fun times. So it'd be nice to hear his thoughts on that.
Nice.
Okay, are you a car guy at all?
A little bit, not really, no.
Okay, so then this might be an easy answer for you. If you could have a really, really nice, almost mint condition, classic muscle car or truck, or a brand new supercar type, what would you go for, and what vehicle?
All right, so in college I had a moped, and that was the golden era right there. Everything was less than a mile away. Nice fall day riding the moped around it. So that's my automotive experience there. Like I learned how to change the oil on the moped. I drove a Tesla the other day for the first time, and that acceleration is a lot of fun. Like I don't know if I want to own a Tesla, but I'd like to get in one occasionally just to make it go 0 to 60, because I had a very good time with that. Whatever it is, I'm probably going with like a convertible, because the weather's nice. That's inspiring me right now. But give me a convertible, get me somewhere warm. We're gonna have a good time.
All right, convertible. My kid's been asking for a convertible for a year now. I don't know if I can do it yet. Okay, last question here is, what's your favorite breakfast food?
I love breakfast, man. Breakfast.
Me too.
Put me on the spot, man. I love omelets, but I also love pancakes. But like biscuits and gravy hits pretty hard too. Give me like a breakfast sandwich, like egg, bacon, cheese. Just on some really good bread, or like a croissant, something like that. Just let's play the hits. Let's do a classic.
Hey, why not? That just played right into our hand right there.
It did. It absolutely did. Go on.
That's the conversation we've been having on this podcast. It's just breakfast sandwiches. And so I tried to open it up for you, and sure enough, you brought us right back to a Sammy. But I need to dig a little further now, and so you were kind of going back and forth on breakfast sandwich vessel. So if you had to narrow it down, what is the perfect vessel for a breakfast sandwich?
Man, okay, so we got a spot in Richmond, Sub Rosa. They make like fresh baked breads every day, like bakery kind of thing. Their croissant is like unreal, like the flakiness, a little bit of crunch, soft on the inside. I think in general, I'm probably picking like just a nice like sourdough bread, nice white bread. But that croissant, I'm picking that croissant.
Yeah, the croissant feels like a treat. It feels like you have a pancake with maple syrup on it as you're outside. Like it feels almost too good to be true. Oh man, okay, good stuff. Let me just quickly add this up, because you had a couple heavy hitters there, bringing in the breakfast sandwich and the RG3 and the $100,000. This is pretty impressive. By my calculations, that brings you up to 230 points, which
I mean, that's
is,
high.
it's really high. I'm just a quick scan here.
I mean, I don't get to see points scored often because I cover the Commanders. So this is a real treat.
So good. I think that puts you top 5. That might actually put you 5th overall, which is pretty good. We've got like 50 people. So congrats on that. That's really good.
Let's go.
We've been doing this for a year now with Karl's Stupid Questions, and you got a top 5 answer. Michael, thanks for joining us, and thanks for everybody listening to us on AllScaps.
Hey, good luck with the book. What was it, The Car Wash, where you go on all the media outlets?
Everything, yes.
Everything. Yeah. I'll be watching, pulling for you. Great talking with you guys.
Yes, Odd Man In, Hockey's Emergency Goalies, and the Wildest One Day Job in Sports, the plug I have to do every week. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.